The worst food that causes osteoporosis and leg pain might already be part of your daily routine, silently weakening your bones and setting you up for long-term damage. Most people assume that osteoporosis is a concern for the elderly, something that happens with age and can't be avoided. But the truth is far more alarming. The gradual weakening of your bones doesn't start in old age. It starts much earlier, silently, invisibly, and without pain. And the worst part? The culprit might be on your plate right now. There's one specific food that is actively draining the calcium from your bones, making them fragile, brittle, and more susceptible to fractures. This same food is also linked to chronic inflammation, a condition that contributes to joint pain, muscle stiffness, and an increased risk of long-term mobility issues. If you've ever experienced unexplained aches in your legs, soreness that doesn't seem to go away, or a feeling of weakness despite staying active, your diet could be playing a far bigger role than you realize. But here's the good news. You can stop this damage before it's too late. In this video, you'll discover exactly which food is silently sabotaging your bone health, how it accelerates calcium loss, and what you can do to reverse its effects. More importantly, you'll learn which foods can naturally strengthen your bones, reduce inflammation, and prevent pain before it becomes a serious problem. And here's where things get even more shocking. Many people, in an attempt to eat healthier, unknowingly consume even more of this damaging ingredient, thinking they're making the right choices. Could you be one of them? By the end of this video, you'll have the answers you need to protect your bones, eliminate leg pain, and ensure a future of strength and mobility. If you want to avoid unnecessary suffering and take control of your health starting today, stay with me until the end, because what you're about to learn could change everything. The silent thieves, how everyday drinks are stealing calcium from your bones. The human body is an intricate masterpiece, constantly adapting, repairing, and evolving. Beneath our skin lies a complex framework of bones, silent, yet incredibly dynamic. Contrary to popular belief, bones are not lifeless structures. They are living, breathing tissues that undergo a continuous process of renewal. Every day, cells called osteoclasts break down old bone tissue, while osteoblasts work diligently to build new bone, ensuring strength, flexibility, and resilience. However, this delicate balance is easily disrupted, and one of the most insidious threats comes from something we consume almost absent-mindedly: our drinks. It's easy to think of osteoporosis or brittle bones as conditions reserved for the elderly, something to worry about decades down the road. But what if I told you that the gradual weakening of your bones doesn't begin in old age? It starts long before, silently, invisibly, and without pain. The choices you make today, the seemingly harmless habits you don't think twice about, could be setting the stage for long-term skeletal damage. And one of the biggest culprits? Soda. That fizzy, refreshing drink that so many people reach for as a daily indulgence is far more dangerous than most realize. The issue extends beyond its excessive sugar content, although that alone is enough to cause serious health concerns. The true villain lurking in most sodas is phosphoric acid, a chemical compound that disrupts the delicate balance of minerals in your body. Phosphoric acid is added to many carbonated beverages, especially colas, to enhance their tangy flavor and extend shelf life. But inside your body, it creates a much darker consequence. When you consume soda, phosphoric acid interferes with calcium metabolism, leading to the excretion of calcium through urine rather than allowing it to be properly absorbed by your bones. Instead of strengthening your skeletal structure, calcium is quite literally being drained away, sip by sip. To put this into perspective, imagine your bones as a financial savings account. Every day your body deposits calcium to maintain a strong balance. But every time you consume a drink high in phosphoric acid, it's as if a silent thief is making a withdrawal. The loss may seem insignificant in the moment, But repeated over weeks, months, and years, it creates a devastating deficit. The result? Weaker bones, increased susceptibility to fractures, and an elevated risk of osteoporosis. And unlike a financial loss, this one isn't reversible with a simple deposit. Once bone density declines beyond a certain threshold, regaining it becomes significantly more difficult. Then there's the sugar factor. Most sodas are loaded with high fructose corn syrup or refined sugars, substances that fuel systemic inflammation in the body. Chronic inflammation has a direct link to musculoskeletal issues, exacerbating joint pain, stiffness, and muscle discomfort. Have you ever felt an unexplained ache in your legs? A deep soreness that doesn't seem to go away? Many dismiss it as fatigue, assuming it's a natural consequence of an active lifestyle. But in reality, it could be your body signaling distress, an internal cry for help, as it struggles to counteract the inflammatory assault caused by excessive sugar intake. And here's where many fall into an even more deceptive trap, believing that switching to diet soda is a safer alternative. The truth: artificial sweeteners like aspartame and sucralose, often found in sugar-free sodas, may not contain calories, but they still wreak havoc on your metabolism in ways we are only beginning to fully understand. Emerging research suggests that these artificial compounds may disrupt gut microbiota, increase cravings for unhealthy foods, and contribute to metabolic imbalances. Some studies even indicate that they could exacerbate muscle pain and inflammation, compounding the very issues they are often marketed to help solve. So, while you might believe you're making a smarter choice, you're still caught in a cycle that's harming your body in ways you can't immediately perceive. But soda isn't the only beverage raising red flags. Consider the drink that fuels millions of people every morning: coffee. While moderate coffee consumption has been linked to cognitive benefits, antioxidants, and even longevity, there is a dark side to excessive caffeine intake. Caffeine interferes with calcium absorption, preventing bones from receiving the minerals they desperately need to stay strong. Beyond that, caffeine is a powerful diuretic, meaning it accelerates the loss of essential minerals through urine, flushing calcium out of your system faster than your body can replenish it. Over time, the consequences become serious: declining bone density, an increased risk of fractures, and heightened susceptibility to chronic pain conditions. If coffee raises concerns, energy drinks pose an even greater risk. These beverages, often marketed as performance enhancers or fatigue fighters, contain astronomical levels of caffeine, sugar, and artificial stimulants. They don't just deplete calcium stores, they push the body into a state of physiological stress. With each sip, they fuel systemic inflammation, exacerbate muscle fatigue, and interfere with normal recovery processes. Many energy drinks also contain taurine and synthetic B vitamins, which, in excess, can overstimulate nerve and muscle cells, leading to spasms, tension, and long-term joint distress. So, what can be done? How do you protect your bones and muscles without sacrificing the enjoyment of your favorite beverages? The key lies in balance and strategic substitutions. Cutting back on soda and processed energy drinks while limiting caffeine intake can have a profound impact on long-term bone health. Swapping sodas for water infused with lemon, cucumber, or fresh fruit not only hydrates, but provides essential vitamins and minerals that naturally support bone integrity. Replacing sugar-laden energy drinks with herbal teas, natural smoothies, or coconut water nourishes the body rather than depleting it. And for coffee lovers, there's no need to give it up entirely, but moderation is crucial. Consider switching to decaf for part of your intake or pairing coffee with calcium-rich foods to counteract its effects. Incorporating plant-based calcium sources, such as almonds, sesame seeds, and leafy greens, can help restore mineral balance. Your bones are the silent foundation of your body. Every movement, every step you take, every action you perform relies on their strength. But every sip of the wrong drink can slowly chip away at that foundation, sometimes without you even realizing it. The good news? It's never too late to make a change. Every conscious decision you make today can fortify your bones for years to come. This was an important point, right? So go ahead and give this video a like if you found this information helpful, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Now, let's move on, because the next item might be sabotaging your health without you even realizing it. The hidden saboteurs. How everyday foods are fueling inflammation and weakening your bones. Your bones are not static structures. They are living, breathing, and constantly evolving to support your body's needs. Every day they undergo a delicate balance of breakdown and renewal, ensuring strength, flexibility, and resilience. But what if I told you that some of the foods you consume regularly, foods you might even believe are harmless, are quietly sabotaging this process? What if, with every meal, you were unknowingly fueling inflammation, accelerating bone loss, and making yourself more vulnerable to pain, stiffness, and long-term damage? Inflammation is a necessary function of the immune system. It's the body's natural response to injury, infection, or harmful stimuli, acting as a protective mechanism to initiate healing. However, when inflammation becomes chronic, it turns into an invisible enemy, attacking not just pathogens but your own tissues. This silent fire spreads through the body, slowly eroding joints, muscles, and bones. The foods you eat can either quench this fire or fan the flames, and unfortunately, the modern diet is doing the latter, feeding an epidemic of bone deterioration and musculoskeletal pain. Let's begin with one of the most widespread culprits: fried and processed foods. There's no denying the sensory appeal. Crispy textures, bold flavors, the immediate gratification. But the pleasure they provide comes at a hidden cost. The oils used in deep frying, particularly in fast food and packaged snacks, are loaded with trans fats and an excess of omega-6 fatty acids. While omega-6 fats are essential in small amounts, the modern diet overwhelms the body with them, creating a dangerous imbalance between omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids. To understand why this is a problem, picture a seesaw. In an ideal state, omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids should be balanced, working together to regulate inflammation. But when the balance tilts, when omega-6s flood the system unchecked, the body becomes trapped in a cycle of perpetual inflammation. This chronic low-grade inflammation doesn't just contribute to joint pain and stiffness, it accelerates bone breakdown and weakens the very foundation of your skeletal system. Think about that lingering discomfort in your knees, that unexplained stiffness in your fingers, the soreness that greets you in the morning. These may not be isolated incidents. They could be the accumulated result of years of silent systemic inflammation caused by an overconsumption of unhealthy fats and highly processed foods. But the damage doesn't stop with fried foods. Refined carbohydrates, such as white bread, pastries, sugary cereals, and pasta, pose an even greater threat. These seemingly innocent staples rapidly break down into sugar, causing a sudden spike in blood glucose levels. In response, the body releases insulin, which, in excess, becomes a catalyst for inflammation. This repeated process doesn't just stress your metabolism, it accelerates oxidative damage, erodes cartilage, and depletes bone density over time. What's even more alarming, studies have drawn a direct connection between high consumption of refined carbohydrates and an increased risk of arthritis, osteoporosis, and sarcopenia, a degenerative condition that leads to the progressive loss of muscle mass and strength. This means that indulging in processed grains and sugary foods isn't just a problem for weight management, it's a direct attack on the structural integrity of your body. And then, there's processed meats, foods that many people consume daily without a second thought. Bacon, sausages, ham, and deli cuts might seem convenient and flavorful, But beneath their appeal lies a toxic mix of preservatives, sodium, and nitrates. These compounds increase oxidative stress, a process that weakens bone tissue and intensifies joint pain. High levels of advanced glycation end products, AGEs, found in charred meats, processed meats, and fried foods, trigger cellular damage and inflammatory responses that further accelerate bone loss. If you experience muscle tightness, aching joints, or recurring pain, it could be a sign that these compounds are actively degrading your connective tissues. But what about fruits? Surely nature's candy is a safe bet, right? Not always. While many fruits are rich in antioxidants, fiber, and essential vitamins, some contain excessively high amounts of natural sugars, which, when consumed in excess, can exacerbate inflammation. Grapes, bananas, mangoes, and dried fruits like raisins and dates may seem like healthy choices, but they cause rapid spikes in blood sugar levels, leading to increased oxidative stress and inflammatory flare-ups. This doesn't mean you should avoid fruit altogether. Far from it. The key lies in balance and selection. Instead of high glycemic fruits that cause sharp blood sugar fluctuations, opt for low glycemic options like berries, cherries, and citrus fruits, which deliver essential nutrients without fueling systemic inflammation. So, what does all this mean for you? If you're experiencing persistent joint discomfort, muscle stiffness, or unexplained body aches, your diet may be playing a far greater role than you ever imagined. Food isn't just fuel. It's either medicine or poison. The choices you make at every meal either build resilience or accelerate decline. By reducing your intake of fried foods, processed meats, refined carbohydrates, and excessive sugars, you create an internal environment that supports bone regeneration, enhances muscle function, and reduces the burden of chronic inflammation. And here's the best part. It's not about deprivation. It's about smarter substitutions. Instead of fried foods, choose grilled, roasted, or air-fried alternatives. Swap out refined grains for whole grains like quinoa, buckwheat, and barley, which provide sustained energy without inflammatory side effects. Replace processed meats with lean proteins like wild-caught fish, organic poultry, or plant-based sources such as lentils and chickpeas, which supply amino acids without the burden of harmful preservatives. The power to transform your health is in your hands, one meal at a time. But there's one more layer to this puzzle, one that few people ever consider. What if I told you that some of the most surprising threats to your bone health aren't just found in the wrong foods, but in certain nutrients that, when consumed in excess, can actually work against you? The next part of this journey will reveal the unexpected risks hidden in some of the most widely recommended health foods, and why too much of a good thing could be silently eroding your strength. Stay with me, because what you're about to learn next could completely change the way you view nutrition and bone health forever. I used to think I was making all the right choices. Whole grain cereals, energy bars, and even some so-called healthy snacks. But when I started digging deeper, I realized that some of these foods were actually fueling inflammation and weakening my bones. And that got me thinking, how many people are unknowingly doing the same? What about you? Have you been eating any of these foods without realizing their impact? Drop a comment below, and let's talk about it. When healthy turns harmful, the unexpected foods that may be weakening your bones. We've already uncovered the silent dangers lurking in your drinks and the inflammatory foods that quietly erode your strength. But what if I told you that some of the foods widely celebrated as superfoods, the very ones promoted for their health benefits, might actually be working against you? What if your well-intentioned diet, packed with nutrient-rich choices, was subtly contributing to bone loss, joint pain, and long-term musculoskeletal damage? The truth is, even the most nutrient-dense foods can become problematic when consumed in excess or in the wrong combination. The key to protecting your bones isn't just about eating the right foods. It's about understanding how they interact with your body. In some cases, even the best choices can turn into silent saboteurs, depriving your bones of essential minerals or blocking their absorption. Let's begin with something surprising: oxalate-rich foods. You've likely been told that leafy greens like spinach, kale, and Swiss chard are fantastic for your bones because they contain calcium, vitamin K, and other essential nutrients. And while that's true, there's a hidden catch. These greens are also high in oxalates, naturally occurring compounds that can bind to calcium in the digestive tract, preventing your body from absorbing it. In other words, you could be consuming calcium-rich foods, but oxalates may be blocking your body from utilizing that calcium effectively. To put this into perspective, imagine you are depositing money into a bank account, but every time you do, someone takes a portion of it before you can spend it. That's precisely what oxalates do to calcium. You might believe you're supporting your bone health, yet a significant percentage of the calcium you ingest never actually reaches your bones. Instead, it passes through your system unabsorbed. This doesn't mean you should eliminate leafy greens altogether. Far from it. But it does mean you should be strategic about how you consume them, pairing high oxalate vegetables with calcium-rich, low oxalate foods, like dairy, almonds, or fortified plant-based alternatives, can help neutralize their effects and enhance calcium absorption. Cooking methods like boiling can also significantly reduce oxalate levels, making greens a safer and more beneficial addition to your diet. But oxalates aren't the only nutrient with a dark side. Too much protein, yes, even lean, high-quality protein, can have unintended consequences on bone health. Here's why. When protein is metabolized, it produces acidic byproducts. Your body, in an effort to maintain pH balance, pulls calcium from your bones to neutralize the acidity. Over time, if your protein intake is excessively high, while your calcium intake is insufficient, this constant calcium withdrawal can lead to weakened bones and an increased risk of fractures. Now, before you consider cutting back on protein, let's clarify something important. Protein is absolutely essential for muscle strength, bone repair, and overall health. The real issue isn't protein itself, but rather an imbalance between protein intake and alkalizing nutrients. Diets that are heavily focused on animal proteins, without a sufficient intake of alkalizing plant-based foods, can contribute to long-term calcium depletion. The key? Ensuring that your meals include plenty of fruits, vegetables, and plant-based sources of protein to maintain the optimal mineral balance your bones need. Then, there's phytates, another naturally occurring compound found in some of the healthiest foods, including whole grains, beans, and nuts. These foods are packed with fiber, protein, and essential minerals, but phytates can interfere with the absorption of calcium, magnesium, and zinc, 3 minerals that are absolutely critical for bone strength. Much like oxalates, phytates act as nutrient blockers, preventing your body from fully accessing the essential minerals it needs. Does this mean you should avoid grains and legumes? No, but they must be prepared correctly. Soaking, fermenting, or sprouting grains and legumes before consuming them reduces their phytate content and makes their minerals more bioavailable. This simple step ensures that you're actually absorbing the nutrients your bones need, rather than allowing them to pass through your body unused. And here's where things get even trickier: the overconsumption of certain micronutrients. We are often bombarded with messages about taking calcium supplements to prevent osteoporosis. But did you know that excessive calcium intake, especially from supplements, can actually increase the risk of fractures, kidney stones, and even arterial calcification? That's because calcium doesn't work alone. For it to be properly absorbed and directed to the bones, it must be in perfect balance with other key nutrients such as magnesium, vitamin D, and vitamin K2. Without enough vitamin K2, for instance, excess calcium may be deposited in the arteries rather than in the bones, increasing the risk of heart disease while failing to strengthen the skeletal system. This is why taking high doses of calcium supplements without considering other essential cofactors can be counterproductive and even harmful. Instead of blindly loading up on calcium, the smarter approach is to prioritize a balanced mix of nutrients from real food sources. So what's the solution? Smart nutrition, not just more nutrition. Instead of relying on calcium supplements alone, focus on obtaining a synergistic blend of calcium, vitamin D, vitamin K2, and magnesium through whole foods. Fermented foods like natto, cheese, and egg yolks provide vitamin K2, which helps direct calcium to the bones where it belongs. Magnesium-rich foods like nuts, seeds, and dark chocolate support bone density and muscle function. Sardines with bones, sesame seeds, and leafy greens offer natural, highly absorbable calcium sources without the risks of excess supplementation. At the end of the day, protecting your bones isn't just about avoiding the wrong foods. It's about eating the right foods in the right way. Even healthy foods can become harmful when not consumed in proper balance, and small mindful changes can mean the difference between lifelong strength and mobility or an accelerated path toward bone fragility and pain. Now that you know your bones are not static structures but living tissues in a constant state of renewal, it's time to face an unsettling truth. Some of the most common drinks you consume every day, like sodas, coffee, and energy drinks, may be silently robbing your body of calcium, weakening your skeletal structure sip by sip. It's easy to think of osteoporosis or brittle bones as problems of old age, but the reality is far more alarming. The gradual deterioration of your bones starts long before you feel any symptoms. The choices you make today are shaping your future strength and mobility, and unfortunately, some of the most popular beverages are actively working against you. You've now uncovered the hidden dangers of phosphoric acid, a compound found in many carbonated drinks that disrupts calcium absorption, forcing your body to excrete essential minerals instead of using them to fortify your bones. You've also seen how excessive caffeine, found in coffee and energy drinks, accelerates calcium loss and contributes to inflammation, making your muscles and joints more vulnerable to pain and long-term damage. Even so-called healthier options like diet sodas can wreak havoc on your metabolism, further aggravating these issues. But knowledge is power. You now understand that making simple yet strategic changes, reducing soda and energy drink consumption, balancing your caffeine intake, and incorporating calcium-rich foods can make a profound difference in preserving your bone density and overall well-being. Every choice you make today is an investment in your future. Stronger bones mean a more active, pain-free life, and avoiding these silent thieves now could save you from serious complications down the road. However, this is just the beginning. If you truly want to ensure a long, healthy, and vibrant life, you need to go beyond protecting your bones. There are secrets, powerful science-backed habits that can significantly extend your lifespan and enhance your quality of life. The world's longest living people have mastered these techniques, and once you learn them, you'll have the key to a healthier, more fulfilling future. What if I told you that the way you eat, move, and even think could be the determining factor in whether you live to 100? What if small, simple shifts in your daily routine could add decades to your life? The truth is, longevity isn't just about genetics. It's about the choices you make every single day. If you're ready to uncover the 10 secrets to living a full, energized, and extraordinary life well beyond 100 years, click on the video appearing on your screen right now. What you're about to learn may completely change the way you think about aging and longevity forever.